Well, I entered the novitiate, this Florissant now, entered on August 15th, 1948. And we were supposed to be there at at Florissant, big facility there. There was for 4 years, 2 years of novitiate, 2 years of juniorate, 1,800 acres, a farm that was manned by lay brothers, cows, and apple orchards, peach orchards, a vineyard, etc., etc. So a big establishment, and then the Jesuit faculty. There are probably 220 Jesuits there. So we arrived, and we were told to be there by 5 o'clock. And my dad and I, we arrived about 4:30. And we went up one of the Rock Building. It was built in 1835, big white stone building called the Rock Building. And Father Schwinn came by, whom I didn't know, and said, well, William, welcome to the novitiate. I said, well, this is impressive. He knows who I am. Well, that was cleared up. He said, welcome. I know you're William because you're the last one to arrive. Well, that's how I started, the last one to arrive. For the first week, we kept our jackets and ties. Then we got our Cassock Day on the 22nd of August. This is St. Louis, down where the Florissant, down in the lowlands where the Mississippi and Missouri rivers combine. Muggy, humid, hot, sticky, and we got these black serge cassocks. And I remember the bell ringing at 5, and I woke up and I wondered, am I dreaming? What, 5 o'clock? Well, anyway, the sun, it was the summer, so got to put on this black cassock. No air conditioning, no air conditioning. And then we had breakfast and so forth, and then we had noon examine of conscience. Well, there wasn't much to examine, but it took 15 minutes to do it. Then we stood for the Angelus, and I remember standing up, I'll never forget this, and I put my hands, we were kneeling, I was putting my hands down by my side, and a stream of water ran down my arm.
What were the courses like?
Well, in the novitiate, we didn't do much. It was mostly prayer and work and silence. We did take one Latin course, just sort of keep up, I think. And we took Greek. We had Greek.
I got to ask you, was silence particularly difficult for you?
No. No. Well, it wasn't. You seem surprised.
I've
no,
known you a long time.
But it's amazing when everybody else is doing it. You know, when everybody else is doing it, it's not a problem. You know. Eddie DeLoge was a veteran. He'd been in the Navy, I think. And his family were benefactors of St. Louis U. In fact, the big hospital at St. Louis U Medical School is Furman DeLoge Hospital. And I remember one night, there was in the fall, we took the long retreat, 30 days of silence in October. And we were sitting there, and Eddie DeLoge told a dirty joke. I suspect today it may not have made the cut, but in the context, it was a dirty joke. And I remember that night going to chapel. I was concerned about being with a bunch of pious nerds. And I remember going to chapel distinctly, it was in early November, saying, these guys are all right. So, and I'm not saying that's the cause of my remaining a Jesuit, but it certainly was a contributing factor. This dirty joke, which I can't remember. I wish I could remember, but
we wouldn't let you tell it anyway.
Yeah. It'd have to be cut out. At the end of the juniorate, that's the fourth year at Florissant, we met with the province director of studies to plan our future academic career. And I mentioned I was interested in politics and social issues and whatnot. So I thought I wanted to get a Ph.D. in political science. Well, Paul Pruka was an older man when he came in. He had his Ph.D. from Harvard with Schlesinger Sr., not Arthur Jr., but Arthur Sr. And we were taking a walk in the spring of '52. Right before, a week or two before I was going to see Father Kohansky to decide what's going to happen in my future life. And I was explaining I wanted what I wanted, and I was going to ask for political science. And Paul said, well, Mr. Neenan, I think you're interested in economics. Oh. So it was that chance throwaway line that I went into Father Kohansky, and he said, fine, we're going to need some people in economics. So, and Paul, in subsequent years, doesn't remember that conversation at all. It changed my whole life, And that makes me, I've always been, I try to be cautious in throwaway lines because somebody might be listening and paying attention, you know.